everybody. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday, isn't it? It's Tuesday. Counting down the days to Christmas. Luckily, I have small children that have advent calendars, so I'm reminded lots of times throughout the day what date it is and how many days it is till Christmas. I hope are you all prepared? Have you all finished your wrapping? I've just started mine this morning. I started wrapping the kids' presents, and then this afternoon, because kids' presents you can just sort of you can wrap really badly, can't you? So if you start with the small people presents and then move on to like the adults, and then you can wrap really carefully and add all the fancy ribbons and stuff. That's what I'm going to do this afternoon. I hope you're all okay. I'm Rosie. This is my last session of the year, so it has to be Christmassy, obviously. And this one's like really easy and so much fun, and also uses a few kind of recycled materials, things that you wouldn't think to use for a craft. One of which being paper cases for cupcakes, which is great for me because I'm terrible at baking. So I finally have found a use for these guys, which is great. So we're making today sort of layered, I don't know what they are. I guess I'd say floral, but they can be a bit snowflakey too. And they're just made out of paper, and we're just going to layer them up. It's really, really easy, using lots of different colours. We're just going to stick them together. They look really nice flat. So originally I thought they might be nice as like placemats. You could put them on the table before Christmas dinner, but actually you can very easily, I have got some string with me just in case, because they are very easy to tie up. I made these with my kids the other day. They did a really great job. So anyone can do this. And we've now got quite a number of these. We added the strings to them, and they're sort of hanging around our house randomly. So most light switches, because we've got the sort of like twisty ones, we've got quite a lot of these just sort of hanging off our light switches. So they're so easy to make that you can make hundreds of them. They'd also, I've just realised just this second, that they'd actually make amazing gift tags as well, wouldn't they? We could, if we make these, if you've got plain wrapping paper, or your wrapping paper isn't super Christmassy, you could just stick one of these on top of your present. Really easy. So let's make a start. I've got loads of different stuff, so you don't need all of it. You only need some of it, and you can swap some of it out for just normal paper. So if all you've got is colourful paper, if you haven't even got colourful paper and you've only got like magazines and newspapers, you could still do it. You could probably layer up newspaper and colour it in. You could get your marker pens out, add some glitter to it. So you don't have to have any of this stuff, actually. You could use whatever you've got. As long as you can cut it up, it's fine. But I'll show you the things I have got in case you want to get involved and get those things too. So as I said, I've got cupcake cases. You can buy like packs of different colours. So I think I've got a mixture here because I did this session with a group of ladies the other day. So this is just a mixture, but often you can buy packs of like different coloured cupcake cases. So if you've got like a selection of colours, that would be great, or just whatever's left over in your house. I've also got these paper doilies. So these are like shiny silver ones. I just had these left over from something, but you can buy these from craft stores quite cheaply. You don't have to get the silver and gold ones. You could just get really cheap white ones, and then you could colour them in. I've also got these, which are circular. It's like circular tissue paper. Again, this is the sort of thing that you get at craft shops or at like school supplies. You'll find a lot of these in primary schools. So if any of you are teachers, then maybe raid the art department, because you often get these for sort of, art displays. They're perfect because they're circular. It's kind of the idea really, is just lots of circles. But then I've also got just normal paper, and I have found that square paper is easier because it's easier to make into circles. But if not, we can draw around circular stuff. I have bought with me a Christmas Peppa Pig bowl to draw around. You don't need a Peppa Pig bowl, it can be any bowl, but I just thought I'd bring it because it's Christmassy. I don't like Peppa Pig, but here we are. We've also got some glittery paper, so if you have like glittery sparkly stuff, also great. And of course I've bought my old book with me. You know that I like to use old pages from books. This was £1 from a car boot, £1 from a car boot charity shop. And you can use all the pages for lots of lovely crafts. They'll last you ages. The other thing I have got, which you might not have, but I'm going to show you anyway, just in case you're an avid crafter and you want extra bits to get your hands on. You can get these like pre-cut flowers. So you can buy these packs. Again, you're looking at kind of school supplies, that sort of thing. And they're like pre-cut flowers that you can use to layer up. However, we're going to do loads of cutting and we're going to make lots of them into sort of flower shapes anyway. So they're not necessary, but they're useful if you have them or have access to them. So what I've tended to do with these is I've started with the base layer and then worked my way up. And we're just going to sort of layer them up. And then at the end, we're going to add a lovely little gem. Obviously, we must add a gem at the end. If you don't have gems, sequins are fine. Or in some cases, what I've seen people doing is just cutting out something glittery or rolling up a ball of tissue paper and using that to stick down as well. So you don't need to have gemstones. So the first thing you need to do really is work out what you've got and then figure out the best size circle for your base layer. And so what I found is that I believe Pepper, where is she? Pepper is probably the best starting point. It's not too big. If you've got a dinner plate, you're going to have to do loads and loads of layers. So you kind of want a smallish circle. We're talking small bowl. Actually, I do have a ruler to hand, so we could measure it, couldn't we? If we measure the diameter of the biggest one, 15 centimetres. So we're going with around 15 centimetres for your base layer, but it could be any size you want really. It depends how ambitious you want to be, or also what you're using them for. You could go much smaller to use for gift tags, or much bigger for placemats, whatever you like. So I'm going to move these to one side, and what we'll do is we'll do a series of different cutouts so you can see the different options, because I think really the key, I've just thrown these over here, I'm going to get them again. The key, I think, is to have lots of different patterns on your edge, on your edges of each bit, to give different textures so that you can see each layer underneath, but they're all doing something a little bit different, which is what I like about it. So I'm going to start with a base layer, and I think we'll probably start, because I know I want to use pink glitter, so I'm going to draw around this green square. If you don't have a bowl, you don't have a circle that is the size you want, I'll show you this now. What you can do is, if you have square paper, you can fold your paper in half and then fold it in half again so you have a smaller square, and then you can get your scissors and then you can essentially, you're going to cut a semicircle from corner to corner. It might not be the perfect circle, but it'll do for what we're using it for. So let's see how perfect I can make this circle. That's not too bad, is it? That's quite a bit bigger than 15 centimetres, isn't it? We're on 19 centimetres, but maybe if I do a nice big one, then I can show you all the different layers. But just know it doesn't have to be this big if you don't want it to be. So essentially we're doing sort of glamorized versions of snowflake cutting. That's what we're doing. We might decide to sort of leave this one as a straight edge or a round edge, but I'm going to cut all of them because it's Christmas and we might as well. So I'm going to fold this back up into quarters. Essentially, you kind of using this sort of folding into quarters bit for most of the cutting, and you can fold more if you so wish, but I'll show you some different options. So maybe we'll start with this one and we might just do a bit of a zigzag. And again, it's just about like different edges will create different patterns and will just be a bit different for each one. So now we've got a nice zigzag edge, and that can be our base point. And then from this point onwards, we can decide where we're going with everything else. So it's sort of a bit of a Tetris situation. So for example, this tissue paper is smaller, but what I'm looking for is like only just smaller on the edge so that it's really nice and layered up. So I think that's not going to be the next layer. Where are my silver doilies? I think a silver doily might be a good contender for our next layer. Yeah, here we go. Oh no, that's actually smaller. Okay, so this is what it's all about. It's working out colours, shapes, layers. So our silver doily, I think, is going to be our layer there, and then I don't want the green and red. What I want is, oh, maybe a nice blue. I've got pink. Let's go with a nice blue. And you can decide on colour schemes as well based on what you're making it for. So that works quite nicely, but I still want something back here. So what I might do is I might actually draw around Pepper now. Maybe I'll draw around Pepper with the nice pink, shiny, glittery. Pepper is, keep losing Peppa Pig. What a shame. So I might draw around her. There we go. Now let's just see. Yeah, it's definitely smaller than the green base layer, so that's good. So we can draw around that. And now we know we've got perfect circle. And you don't have to be too neat with this either, because we're probably going to cut all the edges anyway. Lovely. So, oh, these colours are looking nice, aren't they? These are lovely. Okay, I'm pleased with this. So now if we start to think about our layers, that's the perfect size to go there, I think. And then we've got the blue and then the doily. Great. But I want to change the edges to these. So next one we'll do, I think we'll do, again, we're going to fold the circle in half and then fold in again. Now we don't want this one to be zigzaggy because the first one was zigzaggy, so we're going to mix it up a bit. This glittery paper is quite hard to cut though, so I don't want to do anything too fancy. So what I might do is like a scalloped edge for this one. And I'm going to try and stay quite close to the edge because it was, I don't want it to be too much smaller. Okay, so we've got a nice scalloped edge there. Let's see how that looks. Beautiful. And then that one can go there. Very nice. And then we're just going to check on our sort of sizes. Fantastic. So now I'm going to go in with a tissue circle. And I'm going to fold this in half. And then I'm going to fold it in half again. Now, I'm wondering whether I should do the fancy snowflake next. Yeah, let's do the fancy snowflake next. So because it's tissue paper and it's very, very thin, it's going to be nice and easy to cut. So we can do things that are a little bit more elaborate with these ones. So I folded it in half and half again. So we're folding it into quarters. But for this one, I'm going to go one step further. So I'm going to fold it a third time. So that's 3 folds, isn't it? Let's just do that again, just to make sure. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, so my brain's a bit fuzzy. We'll get there. So we're folding in half once, half again. Yeah, 3 folds. So then you're left with this kind of cone shape. So this one's fun. I really like this one. We're going to create, the best way I can describe this is we're going to make it into the arrow that you get on like a GPS, like a kind of location arrow. Hopefully this is going to make sense. So what I'm going to, essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a triangle out of it. So I'm going to go into the middle and then into the middle again. Now it doesn't matter if this isn't symmetrical. In fact, it's better if it's a little bit off symmetry because it will serve us well when we do the next cut. So it looks like, can you see? It looks like one of those, oh no, do you know what it looks like? It looks like when you're sending an email, doesn't it? Email arrow. That's what it looks like. So you're going for email arrow. And then we're going to cut 2 more triangles out of it. And we're going to do it either side on the straight edges. And when I say it's good that this bit isn't symmetrical, because now we can follow the line of each of these edges. And these triangles will be ever so slightly different, which will make the edge look better. So I'm going to follow this line here and make that into a triangle. Like so. And then I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to do this side. And this will be a slightly smaller triangle at a slightly different angle because I'm following the edge of the top one. So then you're going to end up with something a little bit like this. And now when we open it up, it's going to look fabulous. We're going to be really careful with this one because it is tissue paper. Oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? And what you've got, because we made those triangles ever so slightly different, you've got this big, little, big, little, big, little, which I think looks really nice. Fantastic. So now, because we've cut that quite a bit, that could probably sit on top of the silver doily. If we decide to keep the silver doily as it is, which we could do. I mean, we can do a few different ones and see what happens. But this is looking good already. The only thing I would say is, I think the green one is probably a little bit too big. That's not a problem, because all we need to do is fold it back up again. And then we can follow the cut line, but just make it ever so slightly smaller. See, we can troubleshoot, it's fine. I wonder what will happen with the offcut of this. Will that create a nice little something? Let's see. Is this going to be joined? It is going to be joined. I mean, I don't know what we're going to do with it, but I really like it. So we have that now to add to the equation. But we've made the green one ever so slightly smaller, which means the layers will look better. Yeah, that's better. That's better. I just don't want too much of a gap between each layer. I think that's what makes these look so good, is that there's so many layers, and it's almost like you can only just see some of them. That's what I quite like about it. So now we've got 4 layers. This one's going to be a big one. This is going to be great. So the next thing we need to look at, I maybe might use one of these pre-cut flowers just so you can see how they might add. So this sort of thing here. Now, the reason these are great is because I don't fancy cutting this sort of shape. However, I would say there's nothing to stop you getting some flower shapes off the internet. And if you have access to a printer, you could print some of those shapes and then use them as templates. Or if you are very good at cutting, you could just have a go at it. But these are great. We just need to choose the right colour. Oh, there's a black one in here. Maybe black would be nice because it's sort of like only just be seen. They're a little bit crinkly. So we're just kind of deciding what colours we want. I'm going to go for really bright colours, obviously. But again, you could decide based on your, the interior of your house or wherever it's going. You could just use Christmas colours. You could just use like your reds and your greens and your golds. So now if we plonk that on there, perfect. Also, I would say at this point, if you are into sort of, like paper scoring, when you score your ribbons to make them super curly, there's nothing to stop you doing that. If you do go for some really like eccentric petals, you could score them with some scissors so that they stick up a bit like this one. Can you see? You make it almost 3D. Nothing wrong with that. I think that would look great. So I'm going to pop that on there. So now we're getting to the smaller circles. What colour do I want next? Now I'm gonna oh, we need to use a paper case, don't we? That's what we'll do next. Yes, we'll go paper case next. So we've got some spotty ones. Quite like this red one. This red one might look quite nice. Another green. Another blue. I'm going to go for, oh, we've got flowery as well. I'm going to go for a red just because I haven't used a red one yet. Okay, so with your paper cases, obviously they're upright, but they are designed to be flattened into a perfect circle. They're a bit harder to work with because they are quite crinkly. So you do need to sort of flatten them a little bit. And they will sort of, this is the reason I like them actually, is because they will stick up a little bit, but I think that will add to it once they're in there. So we're going to go with this one next. And again, we're going to do the same thing. We've got our circle. I'm going to fold it in half. And then we're going to fold it in half again. Now, what have we not done yet? We could do a super, super spiky one. Let's do a super spiky one because there's a couple of different ones I want to show you. So we've got like super spiky here, like this red one, which I think we'll do. And then this guy here, that's like a sort of sun. That one's quite fun to make. So let's make this one super spiky. So for this one, we're making our triangles very long and very thin. This one, it will make more of a mess because all of these tiny bits will come off. But that's okay because my desk is always an absolute mess. And again, we're just sort of following the curvature of the circle. Is that one not quite cut? There we go. And these are quite nice to work with because they're quite thin as well. And also, I think it's a really cheap way of getting paper circles, because I think cupcake cases are quite cheap. You know, you can get, and you get quite a lot in a pack usually. This this tub that my gems are in was actually one of the paper cases. Rainbow cupcake cases, 72 cases you get. 72. And I don't think they're that expensive, especially if you're just getting them from like a big supermarket. I think you can get metallic ones as well, can't you? I'm sure you can get metallic cupcake cases. I didn't even think about that. I'm a little bit jealous now because I haven't got any of those. I'm gonna have to go and get some. Okay. Right, so now we've got, that's a really zigzaggy one. You've gone really deep and thin with those triangles. And then when we open it out, oh my goodness, isn't that beautiful? Yeah, I love that. Now what can you see here on the top and the bottom, the triangle is like, it's got a straight edge. That will just be from where when you folded it up, if you haven't quite got the triangle at the edge there. So if you're very, very, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't speak, can I? I can't think of the word. If you want to be like really, really detailed with it, then you can go back in and make sure all your edges are nice and pointy. Although I've just ended up ripping the top off of that one, but you won't notice because there's so many layers to this. Oh, look at that. That's looking good. So now we've got all these beautiful layers. And do you see what I mean now? Like you can only just see some of them, but it's worth it, isn't it? I think, for all those layers. Now you can't, this lovely snowflake we did with the blue, can't really see. So we could replicate that cutout as well with a smaller circle. So we can go in again. And like the silver here of the doily, you can only just see it. It really makes it, I think, fantastic. Okay, so now we need to think of our next layer. Are we ready to go in with a page from the book, I wonder? Or do we want something more glittery? Maybe we could do like a glittery one. Let's do another glittery one. Let's do a gold. I've got some gold glitter here. And we want something smaller than a paper case. So here's a paper case here. Maybe we use like maybe the top edge. Oh, I do have another. I'm just looking around for circles now. I've got this one as well. Yeah, that would be great. Let's do that one. And we're going to draw around that to use our gold. So, oh, I've got paper cases coming out my ears. So I'm going to turn this over so I can draw around the side that isn't glittery. Get my pencil. Perfect. And then find my scissors amongst all the paper. And then I'm going to just cut this out roughly first and then go round it again. Okay, so cut around the circle. Perfect. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's going to look nice, isn't it? Oh, big fan of this one. This one's going to be the best one I've made, I think. Very excited. I'm now just wondering if I have time to make loads of these for everyone for Christmas presents. I only did the examples, got the kids making them, and that's all I've done so far. But now I'm thinking, do I make them for all the Christmas presents? Do I have time to make them for all the Christmas presents? I wonder. Right now I'm feeling really ambitious and like, yeah, I'm just going to make loads of these and they'll look great. But I think the reality is I probably won't. Okay, so we're going to do the same again. We're going to fold in half and then we're going to fold in half again. But this time, I wonder if we should do a sunshine next, or just, oh, maybe we do a zigzag. Maybe just do, because glittery paper is quite thick. It's quite hard to cut. So I think we'll just do a really simple zigzag for this one. And then, yeah, perfect. That's looking good. So we're nearly towards the end now. We are going to go in with our page from an old book. Now, if you get one of these, this is an old Enid Blyton one, they have pictures in as well. So you could use a bit of a picture. Oh, there's a frog there. Do you think we want a... Maybe we'll put the frog on there. That might be quite fun. Yes. So now we want one that's even smaller. We could draw, what could we draw around next? So we've got, yeah, let's draw around the bottom of this. So this tub is bigger on the top than it is at the bottom. So you've got 2 circles there. Perfect. And I'm going to draw right around that frog. But for this one, we're going to really go to town with the cutting. So it is going to be quite a bit smaller than this gold. So we cut out there. And in fact, towards the end, we're probably not going to see much of the frog in the end, but never mind. The thought was there. So we're going to fold in half, and then we're going to fold in half again. Now this one's quite tricksy, and in fact, I might get my tiny, tiny little scissors for this one. I've got a pair of those lovely sewing scissors, these guys, that I don't use for sewing because I'm rubbish at sewing, but very good for this sort of thing. Now, if you can't see this very well, I might do this on a bigger circle just to show you. But for this one, we're going to recreate this purple bit here. That's a sort of, it looks like a cog. We're doing a cog shape. That's what we're doing. I was calling it a sun, but I think it looks more like a cog. So for this one, we start on one edge and we're going to go down straight and then across and then down sort of straight again. And that's the pattern that you're doing. So as long as you have a nice big straight line in between each bit, then you're going to be okay. So again, we go down straight, across a little bit, and then down straight again. I mean, it's not quite straight because we're on a curve, but you get the idea. We go down straight and across again. And then down straight. And where are we going to get to at the end? Let's see. I think we go nearly to the edge and then down one more time. Perfect. So now you've got that lovely cog shape. And then if we open that up, that's going to look lovely. And we do still have frog there. Look at that. That looks great, doesn't it? I'm really pleased with that. And pop that on there. Oh, that's the perfect size. This is really coming together, isn't it? I'm really pleased with this one. Now, do we want one more? I think we should just do one more. Why not? I do have, somewhere, I have some smaller flower cutouts, but I think I'm not going to cheat. So I'm going to use something else. So we want one more. What colour do I want? That's the question. It needs to be something bright. I do have this like really gorgeous sort of like royal blue. That might look quite nice. Yeah, let's go with that. Oh, my paper cases are going everywhere. Let's move those to one side. So now we just want one more very small circle. It needs to be smaller than the frog. I do have here to hand, of course I do, some old paint samples that were 10p. They were 10p. I've been told, I don't know if this is everywhere, but Homebase are, I think Homebase are closing down. I don't know if it's just the one near me that's closing down or if all of them are closing down. But the one in Leicester, certainly, is having like a massive clear out, closing down sale. And apparently they've got loads and loads of tester pots that are all like 10p. So, and they do go quite far. I've used these on lots of different projects. I've used them for like painting picture frames. So if you want some cheap paint, maybe check that it's Homebase is nationwide. But I have been word on the street is Homebase tester pots are very, very cheap at the minute. So that's my piece of Christmas advice to you if you want cheap paint. So I'm going to draw around that. And let's see where we go with that. Let's see how big it is. I'm going to cut around that. There we go. Lovely jubbly. Oh, perfect. I mean, there's nothing stopping you just having one circle. That actually looks quite nice. But I am going to make the edge different. So this is going to be really, really teeny tiny. So I'm definitely going to need my tiny scissors for this. I think I'm going to do a scalloped edge, but I'm going to do quite a deep scallop. So it's very petally, like so. Ah, lovely. That's going to go on top of the frog. We're not going to see the frog at all. Of course we're not. That's looking great. So at this point, I would say we are done with our layering. So we can start to stick this together now. This bit is really, really simple because I want all of those layers to be sort of, I don't want them stuck down. I want them sort of 3D. So we don't need to use any fancy glue. I'm just going to use some normal cheap glue stick. I'm going to start at the bottom and I'm going to just do like a big circle in the middle. And then we're going to very carefully go through each layer and then stick it down. But you can see it's not going to stick all the way because we want that sort of 3D effect. Now the glittery paper isn't very sticky, so you might find that you want to use some like double-sided tape or use some PVA for that. For the purposes of time, I'm just going to stick mine with a glue stick and it should be okay. Also, I would say maybe that depending on what you're using these for, if you are going to use them for sort of decorations, you might want to use PVA throughout the whole thing just so that they're much stickier. But if they're just going to be laid on tables or used as gift tags, things like that, then Pritt Stick's probably fine. Doesn't need to be too cumbersome. Okay, now I'm going to go in with the tissue snowflake. And what I'll do when I finish this is I'll go through some of the edges again with you. Maybe we'll make a little one. So easy. Okay, lovely. You're just making sure that everything's nice and central. And then we've got the glittery one. And we've got a little froggy here. Again, I don't know how well that will stick because it's glittery. Yeah, it's not feeling super sticky, but I have got some PVA glue. So for any of the ones that don't stick, you can just dollop a bit of PVA on there. Doesn't need to be loads. And I've got the PVA glue for the last bit, which is the gem, which probably won't stick with glue, with a glue stick because it's quite heavy. So we've got our last little flower there. Oh, stunning. And then the last bit is the gemstone in the middle. So again, you can use anything you want for this. I got these pack of gems. They didn't come in a tub like this. They came in quite a big box. How many do you get? Hundreds, I think. And they were from Amazon, I think, for like a £5. And you get all the different style of gemstones. There's so many types. You can also get, and I've used them before on past craft videos on here, you can buy sheets of like sticky gems from Asda in the sort of kids craft section, and you get a sheet about this big for £1, and you get loads of different size gems, but they're double, like they've got sticky bits on them, so you don't need to glue them. I used all of those, so I don't have them to show you. But if you do want like a cheap set of gems, like sort of sticky gems, then Asda's a good one, I think, for those sheets. But these are also great. There's loads of different sizes and colours. Oh, nice big red one. That green one's the green one would be quite nice because it's the same green as that first layer, isn't it? Let's go with that one. That's lovely. So again, we're just going to do a tiny little drop of PVA. If you have double-sided tape, that's also probably fine. I do not have any double-sided tape. I'm going to have to ask Santa to get me some. My partner asked me what I want for Christmas, and I was like, there's loads of craft supplies you could get me. And he's like, well, I don't really want to get you craft supplies because that's not a fun present. It is a fun present. So there we have it. There's our beautiful layered flower Christmas decoration tag, name, place, table, decoration, anything. It could be anything you want. And there's so many different layers to it. So what I'm gonna do is we'll make another little small one so that I can go through some of the edges with you again, because we're doing great for time. I knew this would be a speedy one. It's so easy, so much fun. So we'll maybe start smaller this time. We could start with, what have I started with on these guys? I'm not sure. Maybe one of these pieces of squared paper. So this is, I've not shown you this yet. So this is like origami paper. So origami paper is another great shout if you want to make circles, because they usually come in squares. This was from the range, and I think it was maybe £2. And it comes with all these sort of ombre colours. So that's quite a nice one, quite easy to use. So maybe we'll start with one of these. What colour do I want to start with? Maybe this pinky orange one. It's calling to me. And what size? I do have this sort of, I don't know what it is. It's like a pot. That's quite small. I think I want slightly bigger. I don't know what circle do I have? See, Pepper's too big. Maybe we'll go with this guy. Let's try it. Oh, we'll turn it over. So yeah, your first job is to find as many random circular objects as you can in different shapes and sizes. No, not different shapes, just different sizes. Different sized circles for your layers. But you could use anything you want. Okay, so for this one, I think I'm going to show you the snowflake again, just so we've been through it again. So we've got our circle. We are going to fold in half. We're going to fold in half again, and then fold one more time. So we're going to do our 3 folds, and then we're going to do our sending email arrow is what we're going to do. I'm going to use my tiny scissors for this. So we're going to cut into the middle, and it doesn't have to be symmetrical. So you're left with this sort of shape. I'm just going to chop this one because it's a bit straight at the top there. That's it. And then we've got our 2 edges, which we're going to do 2 more triangles out of. So we're going to follow the line that we just cut to our first triangle, and then turn it round and do our second triangle, like so. And then if we open that up, we've got our lovely sort of snowflake effect. So that can be our first one. This is going to be a teeny tiny one, but maybe this is a good thing, isn't it? If we're doing a small one, we can see what it might look like if we wanted to make them into tags, I think. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to use, actually, are these much bigger? I think these tissue paper ones are quite a bit bigger, so maybe we could start with one of those. Yeah, let's start with one of those. They're really easy to cut and they're super thin. So we'll fold that in half and fold it in half again. And then I'm going to make this one really, really long, thin petals, really zigzaggy. Oh, have I just ripped that? I've probably just ripped that. Never mind. This is going to be at the back anyway. The only problem with the tissue paper is very, very delicate. Making sure you've gone all the way to the edge so that there we go. It's trying its best. Nearly there. And the last one. And actually, if you do lots of tissue paper cutting out, make great confetti because there's loads of this stuff. Okay, so now if we open that out, beautiful, look at that, gorgeous. So that can be our bottom layer, and then we can go in there. In fact, is this one even going to be our next layer? I'm just making it bigger, aren't I? Just making it bigger and bigger as I go along. I'm just wondering actually if one of these we might put one of these underneath, I think. I'm going to go with a pink one, I think. Pink spotty one. Flatten that out as much as I can. And then we're going to fold that in half. And in half again. And then I'm going to do, I think I'll do a nice scalloped edge for this one. Well, that's getting a bit crinkled there, isn't it? I quite like that there's already sort of like pleats in these as well, because again, that adds to it, I think. Okay, nice scalloped edge there. Now, is that going to sit underneath this one, do we think? Yeah, I think so. It's adding something, isn't it? We've got a little bit of excess there. And then we might go in with one of these pre-cut ones. Oh, I like this green. Let's go with this green. This green's lovely. Would that go underneath? Oh, they keep going underneath. I'm just making it bigger and bigger. I said I'd make a small one, and I'm not making a small one, am I? So let's go there. Okay, and then we'll do. What should we haven't got any glitter yet, have we? I've got some silver. I've still got some pink. Maybe we do some pink glitter. Let's do a bit of pink glitter. I'm adding quite a lot of pink to this, actually, aren't I? Never mind. I think that's fine. Lovely. So this one, I'm going to do a very simple zigzag, and then I can show you very quickly the cog one again, because that's the only one I haven't done yet on this one. Fold in half and half again. I'm going to use my tiny scissors again and I'm going to go try and do quite zigzaggy. This is very hard to cut though, because it's almost like fabric actually. There we go. Beautiful. That can go there. Very nice. And also, if it's like all sort of sticking up, don't worry too much. You could stick it all into place, and then before you put the gem on, you could put it in between some heavy books just to flatten it out if you needed to. Okay, I think we need maybe like an orange. Yeah, let's go orange next. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw around the same sized circle, but because we're going to be doing that cog shape, it's going to be cut right down. So cut that out. Okay, and then we're going to fold that in half and in half again. And then I'm going to go in with my small scissors again, do this close up so you can see it. So we're going to do a nice straight line, and then we're going to go across, and then another straight line. And then we're going to go down again, another straight line, and down, and then straight line, down, like so. And you can see we're getting that sort of cog effect. I think that might be the last cut. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. It's going to look great when we open it up. Fabulous. Oh yeah, there we go. Very nice. Oh, lovely. That's looking good. It's quite cumbersome though. We're okay. And then we'll do, should we do, let's do another page of old paper. Let's do that. Move all my confetti out of the way. We're nearly there with our second one. So we'll do something nice. We'll go with the tester pot again. Very nice. And then we'll, let's use my big scissors for the cutting out of the circle. I'm just wondering if this is going to be too small. If it is though, I'm going to do another paper case, but do it really, cut it right out. Yeah, okay, so I've got my tiny little piece of book. And I'm going to do, let's do a scallop for this one because it's quite small, quite tricksy. Oh, sorry, I've only just seen, Victoria, you're using sticky pads is a great shout. Little sticky pads, glue dots, all those sorts of things. Much better to use if you want it to like really stick together. I'm trying to think of different like double-sided sticky things you can get. You can get like little circles, I'm sure of it. But yeah, that's probably much easier than glue. That's nice. That goes there. I do think I'm going to do one more paper case. What colour do I want my paper case to be? Maybe red. Oh, spotty blue. I'm going to go spotty blue. Here we go. We're going to do a spotty blue one, but we're going to we'll do a really, really long, thin triangle because that I think will really layer up nicely on there. So I'm going to really go to town with this one. So I'm going to go right down. Go down as far as I can. So I'm actually almost cutting down to the bit where it stops being pleated. So you're cutting almost down to the bottom of the paper case. If it will let me. Oh, it's just that last little bit there, not quite cut to the bottom of the triangle. There we go. Lovely. And if you're good at doing those sort of paper snowflakes, you could really try some really crazy sort of different patterns and edges and see how they work. Nothing to stop you trying. And then the last one. Lovely. Now hopefully, oh look at that, that's really spiky. I really like that. It is too big first. It is too big, of course it is. Would it work there maybe? Or maybe underneath there? I really like this bit though. I know I sound like I don't know what I'm doing, but I really like deciding where the layers go. Because what you could do is just cut out loads of different shapes with your different circles and then just fit them all together if you prefer to do it that way. I'm thinking I'm going to take away this one maybe. Yeah, I think that's better, isn't it? Like that. Oh, and then we've got this one here. Yes, I think that's the one. The only thing I'm wondering now is, do I want the pink one at the front? Maybe pink at the front. Pink at the front's quite nice. Okay, I'm going to do one last bit of faffing before I finish. Because I can't make my mind up. I'm just going to make this pink one a little bit smaller. So again, I'm going to go in with the zigzag. I'm going to follow the lines, but just a little bit lower down so that the circle itself is smaller. And then it means we can put that in front of the orange and we see more of the orange then. Oh, lovely. So we're going to stick those together really quickly and then we can add the gem to it. And then we can all go, ooh, and ah, and doesn't it look wonderful? and then you're all going to make your own, and it's going to make Christmas perfect. So I'm just popping those on there. This green flower was quite sticky outy, but that's okay because these will hold it down. As I said, you can always stick a book on there. Ooh. Just a little dab of glue, or your little sticky pads. If you've got these sticky pads, that's even better. I think I need to get some sticky pads. I think that's what I need to do. And then we've got the pink one at the top. Of course I changed my mind and made the pink glitter go right at the top. Of course I did. And then for the last one, I'm going to do PVA because the glittery stuff doesn't stick very well. And then pop my little bit of book down in the middle. And then the last thing to do is choose a gem. So I did like that. Oh, I think big red one. Oh, we've got flowers. The flowers are quite nice. Maybe the purple flower. It's got to be, hasn't it? Little purple flower in the middle. Tiny bit of glue. Doesn't need to be loads, just a little dollop. And then your flower in the middle. There we go. Oh, doesn't that look beautiful? Now, I'm not trying to say that this isn't Christmassy, but you could use these all year round, couldn't you? But we're doing them for Christmas because they're sparkly. Now, very quickly before I go, I think you guys are all perfect. You know how to do this, but I'll show you anyway. I've got myself a little bit of old yarn and I'll cut myself just a small length of it. And then what I'll probably do is just maybe tie it in a knot here, maybe. So we've got a little bit left over here. And then what I would do, if I just reach over, because my tape's attached to my wall, of course it is, get yourself like a bit of sticky tape, any type. I've got some masking tape here. And then I want to be careful because the glue hasn't dried on that gem. I would just stick it on there like that. Hold the string in place. And then you have one that you can hang up. Looks really beautiful. But you also don't have to put string on it at all. It can just stay as it is and it would make, I mean, you could put them on the plates, couldn't you? You could put the plates out and then put them in the middle of the plates before you serve dinner. I mean, I'm not saying you're all serving dinner. I certainly am not going to be serving dinner. I'm not doing any cooking. While you're waiting for your dinner or cooking the dinner, entirely up to you. But there you have it. Some super easy paper flowers that are using some old bits of paper. Use lots of different colours. Do all your different edges. So we've got zigzag, scalloped, very, very zigzaggy. And then we've got the cog one. And then the snowflake one as well, which has got where we did our triangles. So at least that you've got like 4 or 5 different options there for edges, and you can do different ones for different bits of paper. I'm so pleased with those. Actually, these two go quite nicely together, don't they? Because they've got the pinks and greens in, so they might sit together. Lovely. And that is me done. I've finished. So I'm not going to be back now till next year. I'm probably going to go back and do some wrapping. Probably won't stop wrapping now until Christmas morning. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll be back again in the new year with some more crafts. I already know what 2 I'm doing in January, so make sure you're back for those. And I hope you'll have an absolutely wonderful Christmas. I've been Rosie. My business is Rosie and Ramona Make. We do loads of this sort of stuff. And we love it. We love all the crafts, all the recycled materials. We'll be back with loads more next year. So thank you so much. And I'll see you again soon.